All right, welcome to a meeting of the Architectural Review Board. Today is Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. It is 7:02 p.m. I'm going to take roll call so everyone's aware of who on the board is here tonight. We've got Alexandra Lopatensky, Anya Janis, I was going to say Sherry Green, Christina Hart, myself, Elizabeth Geiger, Chairman, David Riley, Rebecca Morrison, Sean Brown, and Vice Chair David Humphrey. First on our agenda tonight is old business. It's ARB number 35, 2023. This is at 40 Heights Road, which is currently what we call the Citibank building. But 40 Heights Road is part of Federal Realty's development. Do you guys want to?
Just sit up here?
Yep, sit right now. Everybody realized we didn't move the.
Yeah, no, that just got stuck there.
Yeah.
Sue?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Robin Kernan. I'm an architect with Phase Zero Design. Do you guys want address? Do you typically want that or no?
Can you explain your last name for me?
K-I-E-R-N-A-N.
Okay.
And my company is Phase Zero Design.
Okay.
So I think there's been a little bit of mix-up on the submission, so you might be seeing this for the first time. So I'll do my best to walk you through the whole story. So, you know, if you want to ask questions at the end, or if you want to jump in, whatever your preference is. So the original application was, I believe, in 2020 for the Citibank signage to make it for halo lit. Currently, it is all lit with goosenecks. What we were submitting today was not necessarily specific to Citibank, rather exterior modifications to the building itself. So you can see here we have an existing photo on the upper left and our proposed design on the bottom right. The next slide.
Sure.
Sorry. So we've included some photos of the existing building, all different elevations. As you can see, the building it lacks a little bit of identity. It's a little dated. So we were tasked with giving this building new life, new identity, to better represent the community of Darien, as well as to tie in to Federal's property, adjacent property at Darien Commons. Next slide.
Doing it slowly because it's not the most intuitive system.
No worries, and this probably is a large file. So we are proposing, I'll walk through the modifications from the ground up. All of the existing brick will remain intact. We are proposing to replace all of these storefronts on the first floor to give a more unified design for the overall building. It will be black storefront with black muttons, as well as new entry doors for the entire first floor. Right above that, we'll be removing all of the existing wood trim and sign band with a new black metal sign band. Yeah, and these are the same renderings. One is with trees, and one is at daytime and one is at dusk. The upper windows, we are proposing to increase the masonry opening by dropping the sill. The current windows have a much more residential feel, and being that this is a commercial building, we wanted to make that a little more evident. So the existing widths will remain, rather we're just dropping the sill to allow for a larger window. See there. And it will not look like the double hung, it'll be more of a fixed storefront window. We'll begin replacing all of the fascia with black metal, as well as replacing the existing asphalt roof with a black standing seam metal roof. I can talk to signage. Before I do that, I wanted to, if we can go to, the parking lot side. As part of the exterior modifications, we did want to enhance the entry and the building lobby, which is centered, thank you. Previously there was the barrel vaults, canvas awning, wasn't the most attractive, so we've removed that. Our intent is to expand the lobby by 180 square feet, pulling out the arcade to align with the brick above at just that center portion. Yeah, right there. So basically utilizing the footprint of two of the piers and infilling those going out for the arcade to enhance the entry experience.
And just doing the before and after so that
that's very helpful. Thank you.
I go back and forth, right? So and then also no more of the
Yeah, none of that. None of the extra wood. Much cleaner look. And we are proposing a new louvered aluminum canopy that sits over the entry, and it will have an integral signage element identifying 40 Heights to provide better wayfinding from the parking lot side. We are proposing minor updates to the exterior lighting. We do want to replace the kind of more utilitarian wall packs with a more architectural style. Well, actually, there was on the other side. I think we might have a rendering showing them. But you do on both the Heights Road as well as the parking lot side, we did want to add some small accent lights that are approximately 5 feet in width, 15 inches in height. I'm going to slide back up. You can see those on the piers. Again, as a way to give a little more identity, we are proposing taller fixtures, same style, but about double the height to better accentuate the entry doors, as well as some planters to really give it a little more emphasis on wayfinding. And as well as some minor updates to landscaping. Currently on the drive aisle into Darien Commons, there was the curb that was cut back, that where the previous condensers were going to be. Those condensers will be relocated to the roof well, so they'll no longer be visible. So we'll be expanding that curb line and adding, I don't think the rendering depicts it, but a small maple tree there to add a little bit of greenery. These are just the flat elevations showing the proposed design with the new windows. With the muttons adding a lot more visual interest to the facade.
Is the roof new?
Yes.
Standing seam?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So it's currently an asphalt roof that is in need of replacement.
No.
How are you creating the brick lintels compared to what was there before?
So the lintels were actually, I believe, behind the wood
behind
trim work.
it.
Yeah, so we'll have to clean those up. And then the sills will be new to match. So actually, yeah, right there on the west elevation, there are currently, up above the second floor windows, there are currently 2 wall packs there that we do want to replace with a more architectural style fixture. But it does shine down, it's not any uplight.
And that's the Heights Road elevation.
Correct. And that is showing the extended footprint just between those existing piers, equaling about 180 square feet total. These are the proposed materials with the windows, with the black storefront windows, with the black smaller muttons on the left. A sample of the louvered canopy adjacent to that, and then the 3 style light fixtures. And then the black standing seam metal roof. We are proposing a new monument sign that runs parallel to Heights Road. This will be approximately 4 feet in width and 5 feet in height to accommodate 4 tenant signs, the 2 financial tenants on the first floor, and the thought of 2 new tenants that will take life on the second floor. This will be a black aluminum frame sign with a Corten backing that does tie in with some of the signage at Darien Commons. The illumination is strictly limited to, it's going to be illuminated right here to uplight just the sign, just a linear LED tape light there. So, and none of the signage is illuminated itself.
Is there a section to it? No.
There is not a section.
So how thick is it?
Oh, the tape light?
So how thick is the sign?
Oh, no more than a foot.
Okay.
Yeah, not very thick. We can definitely follow up with a cross-section or additional views if it's necessary.
And it's going to be located where you have the star on the site plan?
Correct, yeah, I can see right there. So basically replacing the current monument at the same location. And then the next image, this is the proposed signage that would be integral to the canopy. You can see a similar kind of context image on the lower left. These channel letters would be 10 inches in height with a 6-inch depth projection. The face of the sign would be that Corten metal. The depth projection is actually what has the illumination. So then it's a more subtle look as opposed to anything like internally illuminated. And that'll anchor, it'll sit directly on the canopy, and I think you can see that in the rendering. What was that?
So how
Is
does
there
this-
not
how
a
does this-
close-up rendering of that entry? Or is that
No,
one-
it would just be the one for the kind of shows the full building elevation. If you'd like additional renderings, we can provide those. Kind of
Yeah,
more-
because that seems to be such an integral part of, your whole, facade improvement. Yeah, just seeing it as part of the overall facade is nice, but I think, a little added detail at that. I mean, we can always zoom in.
Yeah, it's a little hard to do,
Excuse me?
Yeah, the thought is the canopy is 16 feet in length, so that signage length would be about 10 feet, so it's proportionate to the canopy. There you go. But we can definitely provide additional views or kind of a closer pedestrian, perspective approaching the
So
building.
what's the material of the depth of the sign? What's after the corking, what's?
Oh, it's an acrylic backing. Oh, the acrylic for the
So it's all
projection.
acrylic molded and,
Exactly,
so the whole thing lights up at night
correct.
from the side and then from above.
Yes.
Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, that's a disaster. The lighting part of that.
I mean, we originally had the faces lit and we thought it was too potent, so that's why we went with the Core 10 on the face of it. If it's too much light, we can look at ways to tamp that down to be a softer glow. The goal is that right now the building doesn't have that identity. It's hard, particularly with the removal of that ghastly blue awning. It's harder to see the entry point. We really want to make that apparent during the day as well as at night.
Some space up there.
And there are 2 entrance doors, or you have multiple other doors?
So there's a double glass door that leads into the now expanded lobby. On the right side of that, we do have an egress stair door that's going to go directly from the stair out. It is perpendicular to this view, so you don't see that egress door.
You should see it in that rendering, huh?
You might be able to see it in the dusk one.
It's kind of hard to
And that is not a glazed door. It's going to be a painted aluminum door, being that it is an egress stair.
What about the other doors across the building?
We will be replacing the existing doors just with the black frame and the muttons, but no new door or new openings per se. If there's a door there, we will replace it in style to match the overall design.
But there will be access points still that people will go in and out of?
Yeah, so if there are current doors on the first floor to either Edward Jones or Citibank, those would remain as access points. We were not planning to do modifications to the tenant spaces, rather just replace their doors and windows.
Okay. I will say right off the bat, it's a lot to take in. We didn't see this ahead of time.
Yes.
So this is not going to be completed, to give you a little full tonight.
Fully understandable.
So I think we need to let this wash over us, but maybe we have some initial reactions of questions we have and thoughts.
I have a comment. I mean, I like what you're doing in terms of creating a little bit more of an industrial look to the building, but I'm not sure if it's the right look and feel relative to what your neighbors are. I mean, you have this whole sort of residentially-ish neighborhood, and then you're putting these industrial windows, and you're making the upper floor windows bigger. I'm not sure if it's the right approach. It's just my gut. As much as I like it by itself, a building by itself, I think it's an attractive change, but in the context of the larger complex.
It might be good to see the rest of the area too, like the composition within the other area, because I like it too. I don't know if it does or doesn't fit, because I need to see more.
I think in one of your renders you do
You can
have it,
see, you can see kind of what the new is beyond. Like there, you start to
A little
see
bit
it.
there, you see
Yeah.
it, right?
I
Go ahead.
like it. I like what you're trying to do. I think we need to soften a couple elements on it just to make it feel, I mean, the font to me, the 40, it feels really analog and heavy to me. And I think that's an opportunity to bring something maybe a little bit more, I mean, even like something, you know, I hate to say it, but even a serif font to just add up a little bit of elegance, like just a little bit to kind of dress it up and make it, you know, like it's industrial, but it's chic industrial. And then also we'll definitely need to see a planting plan, what your landscape plan is, what's being kept and what's being removed.
So we got that very late, so I can speak a little bit to that. I know we don't have a plan up here. We are most definitely going to be pruning the trees along 40 Heights. Those are obviously very overgrown and don't give the best vibe. So those will be pruned. We are, if you actually go back, if you could, one slide.
The front one?
Yeah, I think if you just go up one slide. So we are planning to remove a small tree here to then have a better sight line to the monument. These will be pruned back. The ground cover is relatively new, so it will just be cleaned up. We are proposing new hedges on the parking lot side to better screen the condensers that will remain for Edward Jones. We're doing a new maple tree with some ground cover at the what is the kind of drive aisle into Darien Commons, where the condensers are currently hanging. Those will be relocated.
I mean, it's certainly worth thinking about how you can tie in a little bit more. The planting plans in the Commons are pretty modern. There's a lot of grasses. There's Carl Forrester in there, some penstemon, Riverside birches. So I think that might be a moment where you can actually kind of tell your story by reflecting what's behind, you know, or the front, I guess, in the parking lot.
Yeah, I think again tying the two buildings
Just
and
to make it feel
complexes
slightly
together.
more cohesive there.
I actually think I like it. I mean, I think that I just pulled up on my phone, I wasn't trying to be rude, but if you go back and you look at Gregory's copy,
Exactly.
and if you look at some of the details of Gregory's copy, which is that, like, I think one of the ways to tie that in is to feasibly change the metal color to the same as maybe Gregory's, and like feasibly even add some sort of a transom above like those top windows, like, so that you're mirroring some of the detailing from that building, because that building to me is, that jewel box building is really modern, and I think that that's sort of the concept that, like, you know, it doesn't have to be, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like it doesn't have to be quite as industrial as like as residential as the neighboring buildings. It could be more like the Gregory's copy.
Yeah, I think that's what I was reacting to.
Yeah,
that
so
it was
you
that
added,
much different, that maybe there is something
yeah,
that
like if you could
ties
add like in those top windows, just like Gregory's did that transom, like not in the.
Yeah, right there. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In those
To
windows.
split those.
Yeah, exactly. So that there's a detail there, like similar to Gregory's, and then you know, mimicked the same color and you carried that over, like the metal color of the, because that also has it. Like just play around with some of those details. I think you could be pretty spot on.
Yeah, I think potentially adding some detail to this sign band, which just feels really flat to me, especially because it spans the entire length of that facade. You know, at the corners, there's an opportunity to make a break. I don't see an obvious opportunity to break it anywhere else along the facade, but maybe looking at whether there's any vertical elements and trim that you could add to just, you know, kind of align again with the property next door, but also give it a little bit more.
Because even like the overhang of the roof at Gregory's and like that detail in the corner and things like that right there, yeah. Like you could carry that over into the like that signage area and like it just sort of have a nice like adjacency between the two. I actually really like the sign of 40 Heights. You know, I can understand why it's a little loud, right? But I mean, I think you're on the right. Personally, you're on the right track.
I was hoping for the entry to be a little bit more expressed. I think you did a great job by adding to it, but the canopy is short. I would maybe lengthen it from end to end of where you've projected out, and give it a little bit more presence, because right now if you squint, it's like Citibank looks the same as Edward Jones as the just kind of blend.
Further
So
accentuation?
I would actually maybe try to have some sort of hierarchy.
Okay.
Also, like the material, it's the same material as the band. Is there any opportunity there to, make it like a corten or a stainless or something? I mean, if the lettering is a little too aggressive, would actually tamping it down with the surrounding material help draw the eye to that portion. I also have a question about the brick false chimneys, which you mentioned those are screening mechanical equipment.
Correct.
Are they existing or are those?
Yes.
Okay.
So those are current existing mechanical wells. They do have condensers in them.
Right.
Fortunately, they're not incredibly large, so our intent is to move the Citibank condensers that are currently at grade, get those up into the well. We cannot physically fit the condensers for Edward Jones. That was the intent, and we.
Yes,
yeah, those we're going to do our best to screen those kind of out of the primary drive aisle from on the opposite side.
Okay.
But yes, those are existing
Right.
and functional.
They're a little unfortunate.
Yeah,
It'd be
and
nice to have the form a little bit more pure on the ends, because I think from that industrial aspect, it'd be kind of more what I would look for.
yeah.
But if they're an existing element, I don't know if there's any way to dress them down even. I mean, they've got,
Take off that cornice on them.
could be,
Make
yeah, and
them
the round
straight.
windows,
Yeah.
like almost, just minimize.
Yeah,
Yeah, and all of that brick is existing. We are trying to not rework the brick too much, trying to keep a little bit of the original integrity. Obviously, there's currently a lot of layers of just wood that don't add anything, so we want to pull all of that back. Obviously, they're a maintenance issue, but aesthetically, it's adding nothing. So kind of stripping it down to the brick and then layering new on, trying to create a little more modern look.
I wonder if we should explore the proportion of this band and these details, which on the front rendering disappear more because of the angle you're below, so you don't see quite as much, and it's, there are trees there. But on the parking side, they're quite massive, and proportionally speaking, this band is almost equal to the amount of brick above the window, and it kind of gives the building a heavy look on the top, so maybe there's either articulation or just a few less inches, and maybe this is a little brutal.
Okay. Yeah, that is the current profile. I think it is a little more potent in the black as opposed to the current wood, which has a little more kind of doodad.
Yeah, maybe the profile to explore, because it is one of the elements that kind of they have a step, but it's not reading the same way on the new, and then
I have a question for the group or to propose. I'm fascinated that we've kind of compared this to Seymour's, to Gregory's Coffee, which is considered its own separate jewel box, right? That was to look deliberately different. And now we're creating this to say, like, let's mirror Gregory's.
I wouldn't say going that far.
No,
okay, I'm going to propose because there's a building behind Gregory's that is brick, that is black windows, right, behind there. It's the one that's above Seymour's. I just wondered if anyone had seen that and thought about, like, the connection there more versus the connection to Gregory's.
I think explore either, but there needs to be, as Alex even said, some connection between something in that complex and not have it stand out.
Whether it be Gregory's or, because Gregory's is just such a departure from this style building, whatever this style is, I don't know.
This, for me, ties into what we just built in Corbin. Like, it amongst a lot of residential, colonial, some farmhousey things, and then you have like your faux industrial brick building, and I feel like that kind of reflects there. Like, this building isn't out of the blue in Darien. It's not common in Darien, but it does exist in a few little pockets. And it's already brick, it's already there. I mean, I'd rather it have black on it than it grounds it more.
Yeah, I think my reaction was just the scale of the windows on the upper floor, and not that I like them. It creates a different vibe than the rest of that complex, and maybe that's okay. And maybe that relief is okay
because there is a certain amount of like mill buildings and that are, especially adjacent to the railroad line. Is there any tie in there across the street. You know, there's the depot there.
Yeah,
I don't think those are elements you necessarily want to bring over to there, but there is that sort of connection to the industrial kind of linkages that the rail offers.
yeah.
So I would not be surprised to actually see an industrial building
Kind of
in
there.
that, yes, in that context.
Yeah, it's believable.
I'd love to know how you're treating the front stairs more, and if there's been any work done there, you didn't mention that.
No, so we weren't planning to do anything on the front stairs other than paint the existing handrails to
Okay.
black. Again, trying to take everything that is kind of that more muted white, gray, and this aluminum with now providing the contrast with black or a dark gray element. But no, we weren't necessarily planning any updates to that.
Okay. I'd be curious what see the detail of those railings. I get the sense they're like a rounded, kind of 80s style.
They're a pretty standard pipe rail. I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing fancy. I mean, if that's it, I think that's an area we could do again to kind of play off of that industrial if we're gonna, bring it up. I think that's an area we could enhance.
Or you look at the stairs in front of Seymour's that are black and iron, and that would be on both sides the same. Could do that.
Something a
Yeah,
little
I'd
ornamental.
be interested, but yeah, further
Yeah,
exploration of
they're
why
not
you
super
chose.
decorative.
Yeah. And then the other really big concern I have with this site that actually initiated this conversation was the east side of this building. It's a main, because you go up to it's a dead wall, and yet it's one of the most trafficked walls right there that we have in this parking lot. And it's the main exit point, and it's also adjacent to this horrific little kind of arched, I don't know what this is, like a ATM coverage that I think was supposed to be there temporarily. So I'm curious how you guys are going to address that and kind of bring that into the overall site design.
We weren't planning to do a whole lot on that facade. We can't do anything from a window perspective because we don't want to impact the tenant on the interior side. We can explore doing some elements on there. We're trying not to do too many appliques to kind of overdress the building, but if there are specific areas like there, and I know the other side, which is the primary drive aisle in, those are kind of, more barren facades compared to the very heavily glazed, parking and Heights Road. We can definitely look at maybe doing some kind of ivy or some kind of green.
Like a green grid, yeah.
Something that'll give a little more visual interest there.
Yeah, I'd just like to see a rendering that addresses that east facade, and then furthermore, a rendering that addresses the ATM there, if you guys plan on keeping that.
To my knowledge, we were not planning to do any scope for the ATM. It was existing. It's not necessarily directly related to the Shell building. So it's something I can relay back to Federal, but it currently is not part of kind of the focus of the exterior modifications.
I think it needs to be included in the scope of work. It's an afterthought, and you guys at Federal's done such a great job on this site, and it just looks like an afterthought that's been there. And I think it never came through us. We never saw that. Just one day we came in and that ATM was up.
Okay.
So I can comment on that ATM a little bit if you want me to. Yeah.
Julie has quite a history, so.
Well, I really don't. This was even before my time, but that ATM, and we can bring that back to Patrick McMahon as well too, to bring it back again. But that did go through planning and zoning, and it did get permitted, and it is built according to what was approved previously by Mr. David Keating, I believe. He did take the comments that came back with how you could land an airplane basically on that thing at one point. The lighting was a big issue. They did take down the two sort of pendant halide lights.
Yes, hanging from the roof.
Yeah, that were in underneath that canopy. So I don't know if everybody has been by it lately, but it is dimmed down tremendously from what it was. But just wanted to say for the record that it did get approved and was built to that approval. So if we need to bring that back up, let me know and we'll bring that back up to Patrick.
Okay.
Okay? Come on.
Other comments? We will need to see a site plan for the plantings, as well as a site plan that lists out the different lighting you were talking about bringing on. I know you have samples in there. Do the samples have measurements in here again?
Yes, they do have the sizes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to see sizes of the windows and specs on those, more detail.
Yeah, and basically we're only dropping that sill about 8 inches. I know it kind of looks dramatically different because we're changing the style of the window. The widths are all remaining the same. The headers are remaining, we're just dropping the sill, and it's about 8 inches, but we can clarify that.
Yep, great. And specs on the doors. The only way, because there are multiple entry doors that I'm seeing, but I don't see the detail on those in these drawings. We talked about overall site comparisons.
Okay.
The canopies, yep.
Actually, I think that image of the storefront windows there, I think that speaks
Yeah.
a lot to
Yeah.
to the second floor windows that like kind of.
Right.
Oh,
work
doing that horizontal
sketch.
band?
Yeah, like just.
And this is a photo from the vendor that we intend to use, for this is not just a generic image, it is a BBB Windows that do kind of these custom storefront with the buttons.
I think it's also more dimensional than the renderings, so it has a little more.
Renderings are always so treacherous.
Yeah, and the scale of these this is obviously very much, I think, a sample from the mill building where it is a much larger masonry opening. So I don't think we're necessarily planning to accentuate the kind of verticals there as much here. I think we can explore kind of more horizontal element, particularly for those upper windows. But again, trying to keep the lower storefront as, we want to add the muttons, which is obviously a little bit of a departure what's there now with just the wide open storefront, to add that visual interest, but not, obscure any sight lines from the interior or the exterior.
And Liz, and Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're, I don't think that none of the openings, none of the doors are changing from the existing. They're
Right.
just being painted, the frames being painted black.
Oh, no, sorry, we're going to swap out the doors.
But they're exactly in the same
Yeah,
spot.
same size,
Yeah.
same locations,
Okay.
just replacing with a new door that will be the black metal with the muttons.
Yeah, let's see what the detail, what those look like, what the handles are, how they relate to the main entry doors, like, are they a subset off that? Like, that would be,
Yeah, definitely. We can do a little more emphasis on the windows and the doors with details.
I think just looking at the building and the proximity to the little ATM shed, maybe it would be helpful to see something with that, or at least a photo of it, because, I mean, looking at it now, the colors match the color of the sign band now. I mean, I would imagine you would want to integrate both. Yeah, either paint the frame of the hut, potentially match the roof. They do kind of go together, so I think it would look off if, nothing with that little hut was touched, if that was just kind of left alone. So at least be able to see a photo of that to talk about it.
Okay, well, we can definitely explore more continuity there.
okay. I will write you a letter, or I'll put some feedback in our system to kind of go over the stuff we talked about, and maybe if you would continue the discussion in the interim between myself and Hervé, if you have other questions.
Yeah.
And we kind of threw a lot at you. It was more like a brainstorming session than.
Yes.
So I apologize for that, and I
No, it was great feedback, and I apologize for that you guys didn't get to see this in advance. So,
Okay.
yeah, we will, any notes you can provide, I'll obviously jot down what I can right after this, but great
Okay.
feedback, thank you.
Yeah, like I have your expressed entryway, right? We talked about that, maybe detailing to the sign band all the way across, rethinking the detailing of the bricks, maybe understating them, right? The two chimneys, right?
Yeah, and that is existing, so I'm a little hesitant to start pulling away at that upper detail, that's all existing.
Okay,
I think we're looking at it because it's right in our face, but as a pedestrian, you're really probably not going to see it.
okay.
I don't think you, like I said, I don't think you
Resident.
pick up on that kind of cascading element. Yeah, I mean, it's there, but it's more subtle because it's just a fluid undulation as opposed to the line work, which reads a little more harsh.
Well, it's good that we're just throwing out the ideas now, so when we have it again, you can say, we looked at this, we thought about this, structurally does it make sense, or we kept it because it's irrelevant to the larger picture, however it comes out. Okay, so notes up on the system for you shortly, and go from there.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we are seeing old business again, ARB number 31 in 2023. This is for 150 Heights Road, which is Bear Burger. Welcome back, guys. Please restate your names and your company for the record, and let us know what you've done.
I'm Clarissa Arnone. Do you want me to spell the last name?
Sure.
A-R-N as in Nancy, O-N as in Nancy, E as in Echo. With O'Neill Langen Architects.
Samantha Goldman, O'Neill Langen Architects.
Great.
Tell me which file you want to see. So I know you uploaded something, just start the longer one.
Yeah, this one. If you don't mind pulling that one on, and then if it's not a bother right after when we're wrapped up with that one, if we could look at the chairs.
So this one first?
Yes, please. Okay. So we took in the feedback that you gave us, so thank you for that. And this is just a cover page to recap a little bit of what's around us. And if we go to the second page, we have two options. So we have a painted option and then a natural brick option. So this is the painted one. And we've included the signage because even though it was preliminary, we had blocked out where we wanted it. You requested to see what it'll look like, so we wanted to make sure we gave a visual description of what that will be. And as you can see, because we've spoken about how this is more of like a seaside town, we wanted to bring in some of the blues that were spoken about. So this way we're featuring a blue, and then I have some samples that we can look at later, but this one features more of the blue, and you can see we still have the canopy, the menu. So the predominant colors are this new blue and then the black for the awning, the storefront, and the windows, which will be fixed. Between conversations with the health department and stuff, that's been the easiest solution for us. And then the next option is going to be the natural brick. Both these options feature, whether painted or not, the same brick that is above the side of where the landlord egress is, so visually it'll be consistent either way. This one we're leaning a little bit more towards, and we've also shown in this version what it would look like if we brought up both the blade signs as well as the lights. They really like these types of lights. These fixtures, they've used them before, so now that we've leaned more into the aesthetic of having something more industrial, we can see how we like these fitting in this way, but this is something that they've loved in the past. And we've tried to show different angles, and the sign is going to be open channel with LED, and I know there's restrictions based on timing, so they've kept that into mind so that they can dim it by 50% and make sure that it doesn't bother anyone in the residential areas. And then if we go to the next page, one of the comments was regarding the umbrellas, and so we've selected a different shade, a different fabric for the umbrella that I have here that I'll pass around. And no, I think there's a photo under. Oh, sorry, it's the next page. I apologize. But in this one, you can see over there. So it's a different vibe. The previous one had more greens, oranges. It had a more maybe fall palette, and this one is a black and white. So it would be a more cohesive storefront in terms of colors. And we tried to include a little bit more context when we cropped the plan so that you could better see what's on the interior. And then I guess one additional note is that down here, if we look plan south, over here outside there is currently, what is it again that we have here?
The enclosure for the trash?
Yes.
The generator.
Oh, the generator, sorry, thank you. So there's a generator, so we didn't explore too many options for right here because it would be covered, so anyone who's coming in won't actually be able to see anything here, sadly. So we focused more on the corner. But I'll pass around the materials so you can see them. So we have the brick, which will look different here than it does if you go in person, but that's just because it's been out there a little bit longer, so it took on a different color. And then the paint. As well as the paint, the umbrella, and then the storefront.
I like what you guys did with the awnings, pulling it out. I think that was a really neat addition to the building. I also like how you guys added some pilaster, to break up, pilasters to break up the outside. Or you didn't mention that, but I see that in the building. So to kind of pervade, you go back to the runway. I think that's nice. The one comment I'd almost like to see even a little bit more, like pulling out the entrances even more to make those, almost to what you're pointing in your last building, make those even more distinguishable than the rest of it.
Just not so horizontal.
Yeah, it breaks it a bit. But yeah, you can see the pilaster. I think that's a nice detail you did there. I like how you continued the lights throughout and brought it all around the building to really give the whole center.
Are there people entering on this
Yes.
side here, right?
Yes.
So, and right now you're not showing a Bear Burger sign up here by choice? or
By choice.
By ARB decision, lack thereof?
No, I think it was requested that we show it, but we did speak with the client and they prefer not to have one there.
Really?
So by client choice, yes. We have it on the north side.
Yeah, I can't believe it. For the first time in my life, I actually fight for more signage because that's the side everyone's going to see in the entire town. Like, I've never filed a client to say, no, you need more.
I know, well, here we go.
Could be a budget issue, but at the same time, this is so set up.
You're gonna have umbrellas and tables in front of that for certain parts of the year, so there's gonna be a lot more.
They may
visual
reconsider.
activity.
Do you think it was more that their flow, they were trying to lead more towards the front entrance on the side is more for convenience?
They didn't specify. We asked, but they didn't specify, and I just wanted to make sure I had an accurate answer for you all if you asked, since it was proposed, but I didn't dig in deeper, so I can bring it up again and see if something's changed. But so far, I think we've spoken about it a few times and it was a no. But again, I can bring it up again and see if anything has changed.
Here's the brown and here's the blue.
And you guys took away the white. I saw a white proposal. You took it out of this presentation?
Yes, it sounded like that wasn't on the table anymore, but we did do a white option.
I saw the white. It was fantastic.
Oh.
But that might just me. I like white. I might be knocked down across the
I
board.
think that blue will actually feel a little dated.
This blue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
Is the white
I'm
part
not
of it, it's one of the older?
It's one of the older ones. It's not the one.
Do you want to see the
previous to
white?
this.
You guys want to see the white? We can pull up one of the older renderings.
Yeah.
But I have to do
I
some magic
wonder
here.
if
No,
this-
not that.
How this brick will look
I
with the
think
brick
it might be-
above in
is it
that
here?
adjacent section, yeah, because
I have to
that's,
close this.
Yes.
Very different.
I think
yeah, but it's.
it should be this.
Wait, is that mistake?
This one?
It should
Because
be.
it is so different, versus
Tells me
painted.
ahead of time.
painted.
I know. You don't get a preview? Yes.
There it is.
This one.
There it is.
Oh,
Here it
I
is.
like that.
We do too, so if we want to go back to this or the natural, I think those are the ones.
Because that really accentuates it, like the work you did in the detailing with the awning there and the lights and the windows. Like you can see, it, like to me it gets a little lost otherwise, but I've stared at this too long.
Same.
That's my preferred option.
Yeah, agreed.
But do you guys, is it just me? No, you guys are pretty quiet tonight, it's funny. That
My pen is going really fast over here.
that side still feels like it needs more presence. Like I need more weight over that entrance. I know they don't like it, but literally all of Darien will come in that side. Like whether they want, you could even put something on the window that says, enter the other side of the building, but just aesthetically, I feel like you need more grounding on that side, another anchor.
I think they do plan on having perhaps something visual, and I don't know that they've fleshed it out completely, but something visual on the, perhaps near this entrance, but again, because I don't have full details, I didn't include it, but I do think they want to have some type of visual interest in that area. They just haven't expressed the desire for a sign.
How the sandwich board?
Probably not.
It's not happening.
I don't think so.
May I
That's
say
a visual interest.
Is that okay? Yeah. So, only standing up and I don't mind the white. I think the white is elegant. I think white is great. But everything on that strip is white.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make another color break until almost getting close down to sweet green. So everything is just really white. And so I think Federal would prefer if we did some sort of different pop of color
So
there.
was that green not approved? The green?
Do they propose?
The first
The
one?
initial
Yeah.
green, no one seemed to like that, that first green, no. Go with that.
But you make a good point. We don't have the perspective there. Okay, that's good, that image you have, but, because right now there's a gray
The other
next
one
to
is
it.
the other side, which has some brown with hammer and nails for the guys and stuff. That
Yeah.
has some- But this side, here it is, right there.
Oh, yeah,
Everything's
everything's
white.
Right.
Okay.
The only
Alright,
difference
so-
is sometimes
so
the band is
that's
blue,
natural.
sometimes the band is white,
Yeah,
sometimes.
I wouldn't do the blue.
I wouldn't do the blue
No, the
This.
blue too.
unless,
So now let's go back to, there's blue and then there's the brick. Now that
And-
brick looks more muddy than the.
exactly, I think
Yeah.
it's gonna
Not a
look
good
a little
rendition.
bit more buff and
Plus you can
yellow.
do a pretty sandy colored mortar, which will make it even a little whiter.
Okay.
You don't have to go too
I don't think so.
too dark on the mortar. You're gonna have to give samples of mortar.
Just specifically.
Naya's next door, right?
Huh?
Is Naya's next door?
Correct.
It's, yeah.
They should be green. Okay.
Naya's all white.
I know, their color is that green.
Super white.
Okay, what other comments? Are you guys in place that you're, with the natural brick, you approve as is? Do you want to see more? See more, not see more. See more.
And it's tough without taking that, putting it next to the brick on the second story. That's my only concern, is how the two work together.
Well, the brick that's currently right here is the same, so you can see it. I don't have a photo of it currently.
Oh, so this is the existing
This
brick
is
on
the
the base
existing brick.
building.
So we would be matching it, so it would look the
Continuous.
same. It would be continuous, yeah, because that was something that was mentioned that we also cared about, was to have that side be seamless. We didn't want a weird break at the end. So whatever was there currently, it'll look the same.
So that coordination must have happened when we were looking at the entire development
For sure.
bricks, right? Yeah. Should be okay.
That should be fun.
Yeah, I don't think it's rendered correctly.
Well, my other question too is the scale, like of that, like, that's only an 8-inch thick awning there?
Yes.
That feels like, because that
For 10,
building,
it's 10, but
that building though is like 20 feet high, right? The whole-
17.
17? I'm wondering if
It's
that's
14 on
taken-
the outside and 17.
So that is actually to scale there? Because I'm wondering if it's,
1 foot.
I made it bigger, we made it bigger in the elevation as a foot. We have it at 10 inches right now, just because it was requested to explore a thicker one. I think it's a little hard to go too thick without making the bottom thick as well, because it feels top heavy. But I think that we also are just trying to figure out logistically in terms of like support and stuff, like how big to make it before it becomes a bit difficult and maybe heavy. So that's why we proposed 10 inches.
okay.
But again, this is what it would look like at a foot if this feels
Did
better.
you look at extending the awning just where the doors were, just like another foot where the two entrance doors were, where you have pillars on both sides, you have sconces on both sides, you have a lot of symmetry, and then that, like as a marquee of an old theater, would be sticking out a little bit further. Did you take a look at that? Or no?
We
I know
didn't
Patrick and I talked about it, but.
we didn't explore it as much. I'm not sure that we were entirely clear what was hoped for in that area, and we explored a few options, and they weren't feeling quite right with the space, so then we didn't end up proposing those.
I'm curious about the light size. I know that we're looking at these elevations a little bit more in detail for the for the fixed windows. But did you explore like 3 muntins horizontally? It seems like they're very tall, personally.
Yeah, we've explored different kinds of windows, and I think we ended up settling on.
I'm just hinting.
Yeah. We ended up having something a bit more simple in that way. But I think the other options that we proposed had different. We looked at a smaller one, a larger one. We had different ones, and based on feedback, this is where we landed.
I like the foot size versus 10-inch.
Okay.
I don't know, anyone else preference? That's a foot shown.
Go back to the perspective.
Sure.
For the awning size, sorry.
I don't know if you're really going to notice the 2-inch difference.
Yeah.
At that height, at that scale.
And just for clarification, are we reviewing the Bear Burger sign and the blade signs as part of this? Because wasn't that going to be separate?
They are separate. It was asked to see them all together just to understand what it would look like cohesively, but we're not submitting them together.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think the awning is kind of the awning and brick color and fenestration to this point is kind of on the table. But
I think it's definitely an improvement.
there may be another meeting.
Okay. So it sounds like everyone's favorable as is. No one else wants to see any more marquee or entrance. You guys like it as is.
Yeah, actually doesn't bother me that it's all like one line.
Okay.
Me too. It's actually a little industrial that way.
Okay.
Will there be others here?
Yes. So we have another item to look at quickly, and
So,
What would you like to see?
yeah.
Do you want to
So
help me
if
understand
we could pull up the
where you're
chair, if
going
you don't
and
mind.
bring interest to this?
This one. So we had explored, as you remember, it used to be green, and they were hoping to get green as a pop of color, and they wanted to propose these chairs for the outdoor, considering that all the other elements outside are either black or white. This would add a pop of color. So if you like these, they would like to propose these. They're a minty green,
What are the tables?
black.
Black table, the green chair.
Yes.
That's fun.
This one.
Yeah, I don't know the objection.
That's cool.
It's got a cool chair.
Chairs are go.
Chairs, yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, so it sounds like you have a favorable report with the new umbrellas, the new chairs, all the modifications you made, window selection, light selection seemed good, placement of lights, and signage as presented looks good, but come back with the details. Like
Yeah.
for this to work, that signage needs to be, the signage proposal needs to be as kind of what we're seeing here.
It will be,
Part
and
of the
we'll,
awnings.
yeah, we'll
Okay.
go into it.
Do you want to separate the two favorable reports? Or do you want to wait until they have all the signage and make one ARB application?
That's up to you, paperwork, to me, it's I'm indifferent, I don't know. Is it more paperwork or less, whatever?
Well, would it be helpful, since then you're going to have to split into two different building permits?
Okay, so keep it as one?
So I think if you keep it, if you guys can wait for like
I think
the
it's
next
already-
ARB meeting, then we can wrap the whole thing up.
Okay.
How's that,
We've already
Julie,
separated
for the
them.
schedule for general construction?
Yeah, I was just gonna chime
I'm
in.
sorry, yeah, sorry. Patrick, I didn't mean.
The other
I didn't mean
Patrick
to
from
shortcut
Federal,
you.
Patrick Willett with Federal Realty. So it actually is already separated into building permits, so
Okay.
So
think-
if you wanted to be able to start with the awning, that would be helpful?
yes, it would
With
be.
the brick?
Yeah.
So that would be the favorable reports to
Okay.
be, should be the awning, the brick, and the lighting,
Okay,
and then just take the signage to the next building permit. So we'll have to,
Okay.
you may have to tweak things a little bit when you go into your building permit application and just get a different number. Because once one is gone and started, I don't
Okay.
think we can, we won't be able to add, I'll ask the building official, he might be able to, but typically we don't. We just like to separate, right now we separate pool foundations and building everything, so we just,
I spoke to him today, and I think he's planning to approve this week. That's the only reason I chime in. I think we'll be getting a building permit real quickly here.
okay. Good.
okay, so you have a favorable report on this, and we'll see for a new application of signage, maybe next month.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good job.
I'll come again.
Okay, samples. Next up, ARB number 32, 2023. This is at 33 Tokenique Road. It's a new application for I'm going to butcher it, Shakuji Sushi.
Yes. I'm sorry, but I don't know if we need to application, so I didn't prepare.
I think we've got the files here. You just have to speak to them.
Okay.
We've got the files on digitally. Let me pull up. One second. Hi. Thanks for being here. Just introduce yourself, your name.
My name is Man Chen.
Can you spell that for me?
First name M-A-N, last name C-H-A-N.
Okay. And you were looking to do signage on 35 Tokenique Road, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm starting a business restaurant, sushi takeout restaurant.
Great, we need that in town. Fantastic.
And yeah, I'm proposing to insert a new sign for my restaurant.
Okay.
So
the sign is just the business name on the same sort of template that's on every other building now, is that right? That I got.
Yes.
Who did the signage package for you? Who put this together for you?
My architect.
Your architect did?
Yes.
Okay.
Are the other tenants, are there signs above the doors, or are they above their storefront windows?
So it's so interesting, you said, they're above, Dave Humphrey, can you pull up, you're so good at this, point up the site, the visual of the site. They're mixed, because some of the doors, some of them don't have windows, some do. And this is what was here before, but it looks odd.
It does look odd.
Yeah, it doesn't look.
Makes the door look so narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it almost maybe calls for like, I don't know, set two signs or putting the sign over just one window set.
I would put it over the window.
There we go. So yeah, that's what's currently there, the optician sign.
Yeah, yeah, you can see it right there on the band. Wouldn't it be better on the band?
Some businesses I think are over the windows, some are over the door. I think they're over the door when the space allows.
Oh,
in
and
this
the
building.
door is centered on the
The door is
space.
centered on the business, so you,
Yeah.
actually, if I had a conversation with the owner of the sushi, and I said, would you consider, there might be some potential exemptions here if you had two smaller signs saying, Shokuji Sushi or something on both sides, and then nothing above the door because it is kind of narrow and crowded. And his response was that he preferred just having one sign.
Okay.
So that's the preferred option.
Can we think about, oh, okay, that looks better.
And it's lined up with the edges.
Yeah, because in that other rendering it's not.
Yeah, no, the other one
I was
is
thinking-
sticking out.
Right,
So
I was
this is the very latest I got
Okay,
this
that's better.
afternoon. I got this one this afternoon. So I think there may have been some rethinking on how wide. Right.
Is that a, go ahead, sorry.
Is the existing sign exactly that width, or is that, Dave?
The existing sign.
Yeah, so it goes right to the edge of the brick. Yeah.
It does look weird.
Looks like a little.
Do you think the number should be
Are the numbers always above the door throughout the whole entire space?
I don't think it's the number, Rebecca.
Although because like it seems like the number, like the whole sign should drop to the bottom of the.
Oh, so that it's
there.
Yeah.
But then where would the number go?
But
So
it
that's
would-
what I'm
but I
saying.
think all
Would the
those-
number go then on the door?
The two next door, it's sign and the number below it.
Yeah, that's just really bizarre.
Can we do like an
One of them's over windows and one is over the door. Actually, they're all like that, they're all signed.
Is it weird to just pick a side to put the sign?
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
Because it looks like
I'm saying like.
Weirder than that?
Are all the numbers are all the signs are the same plane?
This thing could use.
It's all on the same plane. So then it's right.
This one, yeah, is up there.
It looks like it's on the same plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it is what it is.
With the same height, this one is gonna stick out because it's on top of the brick.
Tiny little bit.
But if it's on the same plane.
I don't know if it's worth overanalyzing.
Let it be.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
I think we
I'm
should go with
right
it.
there.
Yes, that's not.
Right, because this one sign will not fix the entire strip.
Right, okay. Okay, do you, is the sign the same material as a wood sign, engraved?
It's a background.
Okay, same material as all the other ones?
Yeah.
Same matching gold? Okay. Okay. You get a favorable report. We're gonna move on. Okay, you're good. So we'll write you a letter, we'll put a favorable report as proposed. It's good. And your name is just Shokuji? Not Shokuji Sushi?
No Shakushi.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll come eat.
Thank you.
Can't wait. Thank you for being here.
So the favorable, the favorable report is the one that matches the width. though.
As
That's-
presented, yeah.
Yeah, as the latest presentation, okay. Okay.
Okay, moving on, ARB number 34, 2023. This is for the William Day Spa at 1020 Boston Road, which I believe is currently called Williams & Co.
I have the 33.
Wait, sorry, Mr. King, you're right, sorry, I got excited. I'm so sorry.
Hunan Garden.
We're at ARB number 33, how can I forget Hunan Garden?
How can you forget?
At Goodwife Shopping Center, yeah. I'm sorry about that, Kevin.
That's fine.
All right. So we're moving along.
Hi, my name is Ashley Andrews. I'm working for Sinorama Danbury. I'm pulling the permit for Hunan Kitchen.
Hi, Ashley.
Which one do you want to see first?
The
latest one?
Yeah, that one.
I think this is pretty straightforward, Ashley, but give us the specs and.
So we have the 1-inch thick PVC blade sign, double-sided, which is going to go right there where that pink arrow is.
On the current hardware that's there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And then the bronze letters and there was black acrylic letters, but those we had to remove, so it's just going to be the bronze brushed.
And that's the exact same background piece that's there now.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell how tall those letters are? Aren't they 10 inches? Is that what it was?
10.4 inches.
Okay.
And it doesn't say that straight line.
Yes.
Right now it says a description and we've asked them to remove it. So this is, thanks, so this is a revised, to your point.
Correct.
The black description letters that are currently there are being removed for this.
The sign is gone, right?
Yeah, they removed
it. The sign has been removed and is ready to be replaced.
Okay, favorable report, looks good. Thank you so much for your time for coming.
So there's no lighting or anything on the sign? There's no lighting?
No.
No, that is existing lighting, goosenecks.
Yes.
They're there,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
So we're
All right, we're good, Ashley. You'll get a favorable report. as
So now
proposed.
you file the building permit portion of it,
Okay.
No, you're
and you
okay.
go back in with your, you'll get your favorable letter,
Okay.
and then you go into the online,
Okay.
then pay your building permit fee, and they'll get approved very, very quickly.
Okay, great. Thank you
Alright.
so much.
Sure.
Kevin, you're up. Okay, now we're back to ARB number 34, 2023. This is the William Day Spa.
Kevin Kane with Unwell Signs. We're here just proposing replacement signs for William Day Spa, same size. We have a little bit different finish on it and some dimensional letters.
Did they change, is it the same owners or they just changed their name? What happened?
Same owner, and she changed the name to New Owner, but I thought she, okay.
New owner.
Sorry about that. Yeah, new owner.
Is Williams the name? They're just keeping Williams though?
Yeah, that's the official name. That's it.
Okay.
Williams Day Spa. So just brushed medium bronze aluminum panels. I'm going up there with, I have some samples. Pretty simple. I don't even know what to see. There's the colors.
White letters?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what the letters would be.
The letters are going to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be just like that.
I feel like the rendering almost doesn't do it justice. It looks sort of flat and simple, but the samples.
Yeah, that's why I thought the sample might help.
Where, can you go back to the quarterboard looking one?
The what? The first one?
Over the double?
Yeah.
Signs in perspective.
Is this the actual size of the day? Or is it going to be bigger?
It'll be bigger, yeah.
Okay.
Like a midget size.
Good lights, yeah.
Small for midgets.
Kevin, just want to add one thing. Just to be clear about the ownership situation. So I'm David Genovese with the property owner. So Julia Ambrosi was the original manager for Williams and Warren, which then became Williams and Company. And then one of the partners left, and then Julia bought the company from Mary Lou Williams, but she, in honor of like Mary Lou having started it and having been her advisor and mentor, she kept the name Williams and Company. But Julia bought the company with the new name, Williams Day Spa. So it's not new people.
Yeah.
Just in case people know Julia, they know the story.
Oh, okay, that's great. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
You can't really tell.
Kevin, what size are the letters? Do you know? Because I know this. Do you actually know the size of what the letters will be? I know it's like 10 inch. I guess just shy of 10 inches for that one. Like.
Yeah, yes. Sorry, just at the end. Yeah. I could say 8.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I should have detailed that, but I just
Okay. Okay. Any comments, guys?
One blade sign? One.
2 blade signs. There's 2 existing. There's one in the front.
That's what
1020.
Right.
So we're just going to switch out, keep the same brackets and switch out the sign panels.
Go back to the blades. Yeah, the blade sign. I don't know. It seems like such a large oval with the lettering. It's really squeezing the lettering in. I'm wondering if doing like Williams and then Day Spa under it, like if that would fill the oval a little bit better.
You actually see it on the flat version.
Yeah, we tried that, and just the layout just didn't. It wasn't flowing. It was like Williams.
The spacing.
Yeah, it wasn't. So
Williams Day Spa.
Okay.
I just think the dimensional letters will make it look great. It'll be. It's not a huge sign, so I think it's going to work just great.
Is the lettering going to be on a horizontal line, or is this going to be a little crooked like this?
I try to give you perspective.
That's a 2D rendering.
I should put a little shadow in there. So that's,
you don't want to show going on perfect horizontal.
I try to show the dimension.
The wind. Look, you could do it with the bottom here.
He's a real artist.
And the font.
It's on an angle, just to show.
It's on an angle.
Yeah, it's just, I'm trying to show you the piece of paper. I'm trying to show the depth of the letter.
Yeah.
I knew we were practicing.
I got you.
So it's straight, in other words?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So this is the straight line?
Yes, absolutely.
This is the business's chosen font, and this is like
Yes,
the.
yeah,
okay.
that's there.
All right.
You know, this is kind of on point, but off point. You know, they've got this blade sign on the front of the road. I was eating at 1020 the other day, and we saw the granola company came, and they wanted to add another blade sign. I'm like, less is more. Let's keep it. And as I said at 1020, I must have seen 5 people come by and be like, where's that granola? And looking up at all the signage and not seeing the blade sign. If you can believe it. So David Genovese might be able to tell his clients they get one more sign down there because people are confused.
Where, they need another sign?
They might need.
Oh,
no. Granola, because the sign on the front of 1020 is helpful. People are finding the blade sign on the front on the post road. Anyways, favorable report. Good job. We'll continue. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, thank you.
Next up is ARB number 36, 2023. This is for Roots Ocean Prime at 14 Grove Street. Do you guys want to set up? And can you give me one quick second? I'm right back.
Thank you.
David, you gonna help up too? Yeah, you should come up there. I hear you talk.
She knows you're gonna talk.
Some of this.
Diagnosed in my second grade report card.
You might know it, sure.
Back in another class. Copies of that.
Oh, yeah. He works with, you can.
Oh, shit, I have these. I think she needs more help. Yes, you can go down. Yes, and you just file the building permit receipt, Mason, and after that, it's been approved, so just don't put it up until you get it from, just make this. Yes.
All right, gentlemen. Shed, you ready to introduce?
Sure. So you just have to tell me which file you want to look at in the forest file.
Where is it?
We'll start with the picture.
Why is she going up there? No, I've never heard that. No. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's actually very.
Are you speaking, sir?
No, Chip.
So Chip.
Are you Chip?
Yes.
Chip, we don't have you up there because you got a great vision. We're excited to have you here, so please.
Everybody over there.
So why don't you guys all introduce yourself and your role in the project, and then we'll go over the canvas.
Okay, so I'm Shed Glassmeyer, representing Grove Street Plaza. And this is Chip Grabowski.
I'm the CEO operator of Harvest Restaurant Group, which is bringing this Ocean Prime to Darien.
Yes, and we've got Lauren Rosen.
I'm the guy sitting. Lauren Rosen, and I own Artifacts. We're a sign company just north of Hartford.
And David Genovese may chime in. He's been my mentor through this whole process.
Now, let the record state that David Genovese has promised martinis to the ARB if he does speak up, since he's chosen to sit in the audience.
So before we get started, you guys would just allow Chip for maybe a minute or so just to give you a quick overview of what he does and the restaurant he's bringing to Darien.
That's great.
Sure. So Harvest, we started in 1997 in New Jersey. Well, all the locations right now are in New Jersey. From South Jersey in the Princeton area, we have a couple restaurants right on Princeton's campus and then in downtown Princeton. And then we go all the way to Bergen County, into Ridgewood. And right now we have 13 properties. We sort of plot in our growth and try and find the right locations that match what we do. We're always trying to look for a niche and fill a marketplace. We've looked in Connecticut from Westport down to Greenwich, and then met David and Shed and fell in love with Darien, and think that variance great spot for our concept, a steakhouse that we do. We have 4 routes, and we have 7 farm to tables, and then we have an Italian concept as well. But we think that based on what we've studied here, that the roots concept fills the niche.
Great.
And just lastly, I think what's real important as well is we always try and get absorbed into the community. We're very active within the communities, everyone that we're in. Our style of restaurant too, like in Roots, may be unusual, but we don't have TVs in our restaurants. We're more about the art of conversation, and we try to appeal to everybody. In this particular restaurant, differently, we're going to have dishes, obviously a lot of seafood and steak, but we wanted to get into some vegetarian and vegan as well, so that we can appeal to a lot of people.
Thanks, Chip.
Sure.
Fantastic, perfect.
And Ched, you are the son of the beloved late Penny Glassmeyer,
Yes.
which you all should know here, right? She's the one that designed Grove Street in the first place. So this is an honor that you're coming to
Hey, thank you.
keep your vision going.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best here. So here, if you could go to the photos, we'll just do a quick whiz through the photos. So what came up super quickly is that we realized, looking at the entrance of Grove Street, so this is coming in from Brook Street, looking right at the plaza, right? And the main entrance to the melting pot, which was there, was kind of midway, so 20 Grove Streets to the left, 14s to the right. Now you have Neat, and then Flower Salt on the left, and then you had the melting pot on the right? And the entrance to the melting pot was right in the middle, and our thinking was it didn't really work, and we wanted to have something that was prominent towards when you come in from Brook Street and Grove Street, you really see it. And once we started looking at the entrance, we realized, oh my gosh, it's not going to be ADA compliant. So we realized, instead of having the people come in, those that need like a wheelchair to get in, they would have to go through the plaza. That would be the only ADA compliant way to do it. There's just no way to do it without building ramps. So the thought is we're going to have 2 ramps going in, which we'll get to in a little bit. So right here is where, here, do you mind if I stick through? Just so this makes sense later. So this is where the foyer is going to go. And we're designing, they're going to be ramps going up. Oops, sorry, touch screen. They're going to be ramps going up. And we felt like it's very important. Chip's a big believer in this, that we want every customer to come through the same door so that they don't feel like, oh, I've got to take the other door. It's super important to Chip and his team that everyone is treated equally and has the same entrance. So, yeah. So why don't we just whiz through just some of these pictures to give people a... So here, once again, this is walking down Grove Street. The entrance would be there. Keep going.
So you're removing those planting beds?
Yes, we'll remove
those are
those
gone
planting
now
beds.
as we start seeing this, okay?
Yeah. Keep going there, babe. S'il vous plaît. Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
And there's the plaza, obviously. And then if we go to the architectural drawing, that'd be great. Sure. So our architects came and presented to planning and zoning last Tuesday, and we were approved for the foyer from a P&Z perspective. Both architects presented. They couldn't make it tonight. We apologize, because this is where they should be, being the ARB. Instead, we brought our sign expert, so hopefully he can fill in there. So the short of it is everything that we do for this entrance, so you can see right here, we're going to do our best to make it look like it's always been here. So if you can envision the green paneling, along the windows, this will have the same green, right? The windows are going to be the identical windows that were there, same manufacturer. So all the colors will stay the same. The roof, this is a lead-coated copper, same as the lead-coated copper up above. Once again, this should just be seamless. Everything should look like it was always there. And then the ramps going up, you'll notice this will be level to the ground, the railing, but the ramps will go up, and you'll see that there's a rail that goes up with the ramp, right? But we thought it looked nicer to have it just more symmetrical from the outside.
I'm going to pull up the entrance photo that you have as a context, so that.
So the change is literally taking what's there and bumping it out.
So that's, yeah.
It's 8 feet essentially, or 6 feet, right, Chad? You're
Exactly.
keeping all the same details, but 6 feet closer to you.
So do you
Correct.
use I'm not quite following it, are you using the whole sidewalk?
No.
No.
Okay.
So we have a lot more space, so we're within the setback. So we benefit from the fact that, if you want to bring back the picture?
No, I just want to
Where is it in conjunction? Do you see the sidewalk?
The plan is
Right
here,
there.
so the sidewalk is out here.
Oh, okay, okay.
I know this was a little incomplete, so there's the ramp, it's just the minimum,
Yeah.
minimum dimension, 3 foot clear, right?
Yeah.
You may actually have to make this whole thing, because this is more than.
But to your point, Rebecca, I think there are planters in front of those two on the right and left that will be gone, so it's a cleared sidewalk in front of the building.
So there's a 36-inch pathway or so past that ramp.
I think there are some,
Yes.
I don't know, my own personal ADA, I just would like to really confirm that you show this. This is only 3 foot wide, and it's a ramp, but it's also edged with 2 handrails, and then after that, you need to have at least 4 foot here between this
Right.
and then your obstacle.
Yeah, exactly, that's
And
what I'm like.
I thought the ramp was supposed to be 4 like this sticking out.
I just did a ramp.
I think it's 4.
It has to be bigger than.
It has to be 4?
This is too tight.
Well, I was doing it in New York, so.
Plus you have to have
It's still
at least
18.
12 inches, or actually it's 18 inches on the pool side.
That's what triggered for
Yeah.
me. You don't have enough on the pole side.
No. And then by the time you put your ramp, you may have to really work on that sidewalk to make sure
And not
that you
enough on
can
the
get
pool side.
through there.
But that's it doesn't look like, in my mind, that there's enough here.
I'm giving it to Martini.
Yes, I
I'm taking one for the team. I'm taking one for the team.
I mean, now
I'm
we have-
fairly certain, we obviously have to confirm that it's ADA compliant.
Yeah, right.
But I'm fairly certain that the way we made it ADA compliant, we could have a 3'8" walk, but we have to have a button, we have an accessibility button out here to open the door. So there was a door clearance issue, but by installing the button remote, we solved that. We have to confirm, obviously, we can't
So
build
it's
something
more
that's not
than
too
3
code.
feet then?
3'8".
3'8", okay.
Let me zoom in a little bit more.
All right.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Which David leaves how much of the sidewalk?
And then go back. And
I
then
can't see it.
And you got a 6 foot here, so you got.
there was basically
It's only 4.
4 foot 5.5 to the edge of the brick, or to the edge of the concrete rather, and then the brick goes somewhere it was measured. It's up, oh no, it's about 11 feet, or 10 feet.
I think
10
that's
feet and a
7
half inches.
7 feet from the.
5.5
see 5.5 feet, yeah,
from
there
here
it is.
plus 4.5, roughly 4.5 feet there. So it's
We
wide.
thought through this a lot.
And as part of that, the plantings right there are being, the trees are being reset to where they're
We
flush.
will make them
sidewalk.
flush.
We're going with the building standard, the
The town
street standard, NEMA Foundry grade.
Just as long as it's all. That's sticking from. Button does help.
That was a good one, David. Anyway, I think, like I said, everything's gonna be in keeping, same colors, same windows, doors in keeping. The roof is in keeping. Yeah. So are there any other questions about that central?
I really appreciate that you're actually making both entrances equitable and not, so you're really going after universal design, and I think that's the way to go.
Thank you.
Thank you for
All the credit to Chip.
being considerate.
And we learned that we had some buildings where that couldn't be, and it's not right, you know. That's why it was important for us.
Very thoughtful. Appreciate it.
Do you guys want to talk about your signage on the door and your door handles and how you're differentiating the different access points? Because I know there are doors there that are doors, but not really. They're just.
There are multiple doors. 2 of the doors I think will be used primarily.
So the front 2 here are not actual doors. They're just like
But so we're,
Yeah,
the only doors,
Yes. Yeah.
there'll only be one door used on Grove Street.
Yep,
That's
that
the-
main entry, yep,
Well, there'll be two doors once the foyer's from either side, yes.
okay. But to the left and right.
But they're asking the ones that
The
are
ones
currently
that
there
are not
now,
gonna be used.
they're not,
We'll use the doors on the plaza to go in and out.
But what we're looking at, just okay, those doors to the left and the right between the windows are just faux doors. They're just, they look like it, but they're not accessible. They're
Correct.
painted
They will not
closed.
be accessible.
Okay.
Is there outside dining for this at all?
Yes, that's going to be for a later date.
Okay.
And actually, if we have time, we may quickly touch on it after Lauren goes with the sign.
I think that was one of the things that Melting Pot gave, I mean, I shouldn't say anything, but that was part of its demise, right? Was that we live in Darien, you want to be outside when you can. So I think that'd be great.
Yeah, and that was part of the thinking with the whole change. Yeah.
And Jen, you also are opening up all these windows. All these windows were covered black from the melting pot. Now you're opening them up and you can see in all these windows now, correct?
But yes, the only windows that will close up are the back.
back to the building,
So
back to
back,
the building.
back
Towards
here.
the train station, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the bar is going to go, on that wall facing the train station.
But in the past, like, I think these windows are all black. They were windows, but there's black, so we never saw into what the melting pot was, right?
Exactly, and there
So
are
now
all like
it's-
these little cubbies too, so it's all open.
Cool.
It's going to be great.
And inside, in all our designs, we always do things that stand the test of time. So it's going to be brick, stone, mahogany, you know, aesthetically inside. It's very much good. I think it attaches to the outside of the structure. That's what got us to this location too, as well, was the beautiful structure.
Great. And then everybody, you want to bring up the signage and all that?
Sure.
Lauren?
You got no comments on the facade updates, anyone? Okay, great.
Okay, we're going to talk about the signs. Again, my name's Lauren Rosen, and I own Artifacts. We've been in business for 41 years, and I started the business when my hair wasn't so great. We've done a lot of restaurants, I think 666 restaurants, or 67 this will be. And we've done, I think, 10 restaurants for Chip. And the thing I would say beyond the signs, his restaurants are very, very impressive. Of all the restaurants we've built signs for, I really think Chip's are the most impressive. Beyond the great food, the architecture is always phenomenal. They're very engaging, and I love to take time to eat there when I have a chance. So for the signs, we're coming in with a fairly simple approach, kind of a time-honored crowd pleaser. We're going to do halo letters. Originally, we went back and forth talking about color. Chip thought it might be nice to have black letters, which we've done before. I felt that gold letters might be a little bit more, say, rich or engaging, and we decided that gold would be the way to go. Initially, we were thinking about fabricating the letters out of aluminum and spraying the letters with a metallic gold, an automotive finish that would have a gloss to it. And then as I thought about it, I said, you know, it'd be kind of nice to do brass letters. The only problem with brass, it tarnishes after time, and it turns to a brown, which is an okay look, except in this case we want to maintain the gold. So I brought a sample of what looks just like brass, but it's stainless steel. It's stainless steel with titanium, and it's anodized to a brass finish, so it never tarnishes. That's a small sample, of course, but these letters would be fabricated from the same titanium with a brass anodized coat, and they would look like brass now, in 10 years, and 50 years.
And Lauren, just to be clear, which sign are you referring to now?
So we're talking about the halo letters that are on the new vestibule.
Okay.
And we also, if you go through the prints, we have 3 identical signs. There's one that faces Grove, there's one that faces the train station to the right, and there's one in back of the building. They're all identical. And then we have this novel oval blade sign, which I think you just saw one. The blade sign projects into the courtyard on a yard arm with external lighting.
All 3 signs the same size?
All 3 halo sets are identical in size. They don't change. So the fabrication is in the anodized titanium, which looks like brass. For lighting inside, we're going to use a 5,000 Kelvin. And I know that 3,000 and 4,000 are pretty popular today. We're going to reserve that for the projecting blade sign. So the blade sign, we're going to come in with a 3,000 Kelvin. And in my opinion, based on all the signs that we've done in the past 10 or 20 years, that kind of incandescent glow is very nice for external lighting. For halo lighting, it has a tendency to appear kind of yellowy or just not clean. And I brought pictures of halo letters that we've done in the past few years. One is the first photograph of Windsor Federal. It's a dimensional, that happens to be an aluminum letter that's painted, I believe it's a blue, and it halos with 5,000 Kelvin LEDs.
Do you mind if I ask you a question? All the facades have the halo lit sign except the one facing the plaza.
That's an older drawing. So if you look,
that's correct. This is
oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
This is the rear.
Sorry.
This is
the
rear.
Yeah.
This is the
I
rear,
thought I was
which is
looking at
not
the rear
where
for a second.
pedestrians are located. So this is the rear facade.
Correct. Yes.
This is the plaza facade, which is the one that's not getting the halo.
Correct.
And then you get the street, Grove Street. Sorry, this is the train.
Correct.
Yep. And this is the Grove Street. So
There you go.
why the
Yep.
choice of not having, since you have so many of them, why not on the pedestrian plaza
the
where
blade
most people are going to come in or no people are going to come in?
The blade sign is on the...
It's on the corner.
Is on the corner. And no, that's not an entrance. The only entrance now will be the main entrance. The
So
existing
this
entrance...
is really definitely no longer an entrance. So you do want to, I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
to clarify.
no, great question. No, that's a service door.
Okay.
And sir, so when people come in and to the outdoor seating, they'll come in through the main entrance and then come out one of those doors to come
Broad.
outdoors. Yeah.
Okay, brought around the corner. Okay.
Yeah, so 3 identical signs, and then I apologize about that. That's a courtyard. We're going to have our projecting blade sign. So with the blade sign,
Can you back the wall so before you jump the blade sign? The location of the blade sign on the north wall, I think it is the parking lot, the trains. The other, can you scroll down here, Ray?
Sure.
Did you center it on that facade? This one. Is that centered on the facade? I'm just curious.
that's centered on the facade.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And on the other side, facing the train station, we moved it to the left so that it would get more to the entrance, so you
Yeah.
could draw the people to
That looks
the,
nice.
to the, towards the entrance.
Yeah. I like that.
But no blade.
No blade there.
No.
There's only one blade.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that's the one that projects into the courtyard. This we moved to the front so you could see it from Grove.
The current blade, I don't think so. The current blade sign that was on Grove Street Plaza, is it illuminated?
It has external lighting.
No, the current, you're saying the one that was
The
the
one
melting
that-
pot?
Yeah, yeah.
I believe it was illuminated, right?
It was illuminated, so it had what are called barn door lights. The lights we'll use will be a little bit more petite, I would say. We're prescribing a 3,000 Kelvin and 800 lumens per side, which is about appropriate for that size sign. So the blade sign will be made of aluminum. I just happen to have acrylic samples that are sprayed, but that's the finish of the blade sign. It's a low luster black epoxy. And the letters on the blade sign in this case, they're going to be gold leafed. And that's a sample of gold leaf.
And they're painted on?
Gold leaf.
What is that?
So gold leafing, you're going to get the sample.
It's like, it's cut?
Well, it's a dimensional letter.
Yeah, it's dimensional, okay.
So roots is dimensional, ocean prime is flat.
Okay.
So roots will be a letter that is a 1/2 inch thick, and it has a 3/8 standoff.
Okay. And what's that border then? Is that border painted on then as well? Is Ocean Prime?
No, the border is going to be gold leaf, so it'll be painted and then gold leaf. So typically what we do for gold leaf, first we paint yellow to bring out the color, and then we put down what's called sizing. It's a glue. And we let the sizing dry for about 18 to 20 hours, and then we apply gold leaf. Like they used to do 500 or 600 years ago. It hasn't changed too much. Lastly, for the entry pulls, the door pulls, we're going to use...
Here, back to the court, plaza entrance.
The vestibule.
Yeah, oh, you want the vestibule?
Yeah, the vestibule. Okay, in the windows, I'm sorry, those will be a gold letter. Just a decorative embellishment. And then for the door pulls, we're going to use a fabricated aluminum. And the aluminum is going to be sprayed with an automotive epoxy, and I have a sample. It's a metallic gold with a clear coat. This happens to be acrylic. My apologies, we had it in the office. That will be fabricated aluminum, and all the edges will be slightly chamfered, so it's smooth to the touch. And I think that's about it. I can field any questions.
Is the location of the blade sign, is it matching the old blade sign location? Or
It isn't. We moved it
You
up
moved it.
toward Grove about 4 or 5 feet.
There's your motion. They moved it 4 or 5 feet.
So there's another door that's on that side.
Yeah.
And that door is going to be used in the future for service to bring food out to people in the courtyard.
Right.
But it will not be an entry to the restaurant.
So you moved it to take away the prominence of an entry there?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So just,
Is there any reason why, I know the exterior brass looking sign, why didn't you do unlacquered polished brass?
for the door handle,
No, for the
stainless steel.
That goes, yeah.
because what happens eventually, even if you use lacquer or if you use acrylic polyurethane, in time, it takes about 5 to 6 years, especially that you're probably about 8 miles from the ocean, it starts to wear away. And then the corners of the letters start to turn brown. So with the titanium, it's brass colored through every type of weather and circumstance, whether it's near the ocean, chlorine, it's just not affected.
But that's the brightest color of brass you can get on that titanium finish, or isn't it? I think that's what is being asked.
I just.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that the question?
I just always used unlacquered polished brass for exterior lighting. I think it just gives it a little bit more richer look.
As a patinas or?
No, just like, yeah, light finish.
Are you saying less bright? Is that what you're saying, or?
It just looks a little, well, I mean, it just looks a little bit richer.
Well, I would say this, we're happy to use whatever you'd like us to use.
I was just questioning.
My preference would be for a sign that looks like brass forever. Because you never know how the letters are going to wear ideally they wear perfectly, and then something happens where there's a weather pattern and the letters are kind of stained on a line that's askew to, you never know what's going to happen. It's hard to predict. We have done a lot of brass letters. It's just we've had experiences with them, especially near the ocean, where they don't wear well.
Do you have the dimensions on how high that sign's sitting off the ground?
I didn't scale it offhand, but I would tell you that if I had to give you a number, the door is 7, add 3, and add another 6 inches, plus the stoop. I would say 10, 11, about 11'6".
Okay. So it's being fastened to the sign band?
Yeah.
So it's fastened to the sign band, and it projects away about 1.5 inches to allow the light to bleed onto the background.
Okay.
So just to explain the photographs you have, the first Windsor Federal demonstrates a typical halo. I brought it to show what 5,000 Kelvin looks like in a halo. Next is the Mohegan Sun we did about 30 years ago. That also has a 5,000 except for the insignia we put in colors. Job from New York, I just happened to grab another 5,000 Kelvin in this Create. And looking for halo letters in our portfolio, I found the Darien Playhouse that we did a few years back. That's also a 5,000 Kelvin. In the other little packet, there's a projecting sign that we did years back for a restaurant in Mystic. The reason I brought it, it shows gold leaf, this lower part.
Nice.
And plus it's an oval. Worthington Ridge was a sign from maybe 30 years ago. That's a gold leaf letter. Shows you what gold leaf looks like on an oval background. And then the door pulls are from the Hard Rock in Boston, and it just shows a configured door pull.
I do have a quick dimensional question. On the front facade, see how the sign is on a band that's wider than the other fascias?
Yes.
Right? And the dimension here that you give us is 6 3/4 on the side, 10 inch for the large letters. But the band on that side is supposed to be smaller, but then the letters look like they have the same kind of amount of space on breathing on both sides, which in reality, if you compare it to the band up here, would have to be different because there's probably 3 inches less for this fascia. So, in other words, what I'm saying is, after this long demonstration, is maybe these letters are that size, and then those are slightly smaller than what's specified down here, because if that fascia is smaller,
You know, I'd have to count the brick.
You may not have the amount.
So he may have scaled it.
3 bricks equals 8 inches.
Yeah, 3 bricks are
always 8 inches. So you have a few bricks difference here. So it's probably, it's 1.5 brick difference in width.
I might have an artist to reprimand. It might be shown a little bit smaller. I'm not certain. He may have not scaled it 100%.
So if it's smaller, that's not such a problem because it's a smaller fascia. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that if you were to say that all the letters are this size, they may not fit as well on this fascia board here because this fascia board is smaller, and they would feel a little bit,
Yeah, so I might put that amendment into my letter to you guys, that the secondary wall signs may need to be slightly adjusted to allow that same degree of breathing room around them that you find on the front.
But you'd be okay if the sign is slightly smaller?
Yeah.
I think it would be fine because there's a hierarchy. One is your main entrance door and the other two are just kind of directional, like a little bit more directional.
Yeah, I would apologize. He made a mistake in the scaling, which is atypical, but
sorry.
that's a good,
I apologize.
that's a great catch.
It's just
That's a
the
good
kind
eye.
of thing that,
So long as we could have approved that size and it would have shown up and it would have looked.
well, if the letter had been built at 6 3/4 and they were.
I want to say one thing. Before we build a sign, we always make a prototype, and it's usually a banner that we put in place just to make sure we're accurate with our thoughts and dimensions.
Good.
It's an essential step in our process.
Well, plus these letters can't be that cheap to make.
What's good is Lauren's based in Connecticut as well. He's just outside of Hartford, so you can shoot down.
Great.
Anyway, so that's all I have.
Okay, this looks good. You have a favorable report. Thank you guys, it's a great presentation. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Pleasure meeting you. God bless. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one last agenda item tonight. It's ARB number 37, 2023. It is at 284 Taconique Road. Razor going down into Layton from Darien, where Jennifer's Kitchen used to be. David?
Oh, that standalone.
David.
It's so big. I like to
It's just zoomed in on the
Let's do our walk.
That's
Make me spend more money, woman.
I think he's got plenty of it. Let's
Is
put in
that-
some more money, dude.
Is 284 Taconique Road not here, Hervé?
Hold on. Daniela, yes, she should, no, she's not. I thought she would come, it's just the vinyl
Yeah.
lettering on the Jennifer's Kitchen.
Yep, I know it here. Okay.
And I know I have to spend a good amount of time with her on the phone. So,
Okay, that's unfortunate she's not here. Okay.
So, what would you want to do? These are two,
Can you pull that up for these guys so they can see if we can make a recommendation?
I think this is pretty straightforward.
So it was Jennifer's Kitchen. They had that awkward sign that was hanging off the dormer, if you guys remember all those years.
I live right around there.
Yeah, right. So I believe she's proposing to remove that sign and simply put on window clings, large window clings on the two window sets left and right, and that would be the only signage.
That father.
We struggled finding this when we, there you go.
Calls it
Oh, that's
banner.
it.
That's just the,
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
So those are the two window clings, one on the left, one on the right, but they've not been shown on the wall.
No, she couldn't do that. Photoshop was not her forte. So she's the owner, and she wanted to know what the size was, what would be allowed. So we went over the 10%. We did the calculation together of the amount of glass that she has on the exterior window and how big these are. And they were 1'7", I believe. 19 inches was the maximum for the diameter.
And she wouldn't have any other sign?
How much?
No, she doesn't want any other sign. So the problem is that Jennifer Kitchen still has this cutout funny awning, and she doesn't know yet what she's going to do with that. She didn't want any sign there, but I think she may find with the use of it.
Keep the existing building.
Yeah.
Keep this up, and also, do you mind if I put up the existing
Oh, look
building?
here.
There you go. Yeah,
Well,
it is up there
not the
too.
whole
Yeah. She has a picture of it too on the existing.
It's there?
Yeah, if you, it's called, there, that one. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
That's the one.
Right, that thing here.
So there'll be one over open and one there to the right where the sign, the menus are.
Right, so the windows are this much, and the sign would go pretty much smack in the middle type thing, and the one would be the lemon, the other one would be the tomato.
And what was the dimension, 17 inches you said?
17, I think 1'7". No, 1'7" was the max. She wanted 24 inches, and 24 did not work with the 10%. So it was 1 foot. I had the calculation somewhere. I believe it's 1'7", but
Okay.
it could be 1'9".
You put a lot of sign. Nobody's gonna see
Well,
this.
I know. That we went over that. She said, "No, I don't want anything over the door," and I'm. So I don't know what she's going to do with this. There's probably a way to let her put those vinyl things just to identify the business, and then she may come back later and decide to do something, But this has to go anyway because it says Jennifer Kitchen. So
Okay.
that would not be good.
Okay. So there's no, if she's building, if she's doing the window clings within our guidelines at, 17 inches, then there's nothing to prove, then she can do what she wants to do.
Okay.
So that will tell her that's favorable, and if she wants to do any more signage,
Right,
come see us.
at the size determined by ZO.
Okay. You can also let her know that sandwich boards aren't allowed in town.
Oh, yeah.
I could see her wanting to
Wanting
do a
to have
sandwich
signage,
board as an
yeah.
option too, thinking that might be a solution, so if she let her know ahead of time, that might help her determine
Right.
a better long-term plan if she wants more signage.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Hervé.
I think she may have misunderstood that she needed to be here. Okay, so now we're going to go to...
Okay, so that's all for applications for tonight. Now we're on to other business. First one is Federal Realty, the Edgerton entrance. Did you guys have a chance to ever drive by that and have any opinions on what you would, any suggestions you might want to see there? And let me also update, I didn't hear from you in the meantime, Patrick did write, he wasn't able to be here tonight, but he did write and say that they're looking into some sort of artwork for that side, that Edgerton entrance, something to for the whole site in general, they're looking for artwork, but also specifically that entrance to give it more of a presence. So if you had opinions or anything, he'd love to hear it. He will also be here next month.
I mean, I think you could probably get some sort of cool version of the monument or the sign that we did on the wall, right? And have that reflected in some way as a monument sign at the entrance that's really well planted in. That does seem a little corporate to me, but I looked at it, and other than doing a really welcoming, aggressive planting plan where it feels like you want to get pulled into a park, but then instead it's, the giant transformers and the parking lot, residential parking lot. It's a hard.
They would have to screen.
I stared at it for a while, and it's like I don't.
All right. Okay. I'll mention those. Those are great thoughts, though. I'll mention to Patrick. He'll be here next month, like I said, to discuss it, and make more artwork for the site at Hall. Again, I think you want to bring some sculptures on the site, just some more interactive.
Right. So I mean, without taking away from his thunder, I think there has been some talk, and he and I talked a little bit today, and he was going to talk about this, so I can say a portion of it. Is that there's a whole, for Darien Commons, there's a whole kind of art program idea that would be pretty interesting to even attract more people to the complex and attract more people to the businesses and the food and all that. And so right now they're looking at something maybe a little holistic about different placements of things, because there is a little bit of money left over for art that in the overall development. So that's a sign of successful development. Mm-hmm. And it used to be the 1% artistic program back in New York City when I used to design buildings. But this is kind of like the same concept. You help artists, and we already have the art at the corner of Seymour, which is, I don't know if you guys
that looks great.
We can really applaud the whole Federal Realty and this committee.
Federal's sort of developments that's one of the key things about their developments, to have art as being integral to their buildings and draw the community in and make it of the community. So that is kind of
so. And when you know town like Worcester and other places that have all these mural programs and art programs, I mean it's. So I talked to Patrick about it. It's a coordination maybe with the Chamber of Commerce, and so you can go beyond just the local development and just try to create some real strong image. So I think that's what he would have talked a little bit without having any examples, but he has some idea of locations and some preliminary ideas of what could go there. But I think that will be in October because he had a personal thing to go to, emergency.
Okay.
All right. And Edgerton would be a great opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
With the entrance.
All right, so that's that. The final item on our agenda tonight for just discussion is Bird Code. They are here tonight.
Big team.
The huge team, they want to talk to us. Before I introduce them and let them share their points. I want to give you a little background here. So we gave a favorable report to this application a while ago. Since then, I won't put words in their mouth, but I believe they've run out of money, so they're not able to complete the scope of work which they proposed us. And it brings out a two-point discussion for us here at ARB that I think we need to talk about. One, how do we feel about our favorable report given now that the plans have changed? Would we have approved this if, part of these things, the pergola, the awnings, if those weren't there, would we have approved this as is? So how do we feel about the changes, and do we now have new recommendations to get this to be a favorable report again? The second part about this is the procedure for reviewing old applications whose scope of work has changed. And I don't know if we should be setting a precedent. We haven't done this before, but set a precedent for reviewing applications, and it might be condition-based. Like, it's no review if, I'm gonna need your help with this, it's no review if the building department comes back and says, well, they can't do this because X, Y, Z, that's a different change than if a client comes back and says, oh, well, we just didn't do this because we decided we didn't like it, or we ran out of money. So I think this...
I mean, the building department relative to code?
Yeah. There are reasons why work changes, but in my mind, unfortunately, for code's gonna have to hear this, I don't think a client coming to us saying we ran out of money is part of it. I mean, I think, and in part of that, I don't think we should be reviewing applications with the budget hasn't been fully flushed out to where they don't know they can complete something. This happens once in a while, so I just want to set that up as we talk to them. They did a wonderful job with their presentation, so I don't know if you guys want to discuss that first, or you guys want to hear what they're proposing. Mr. Humphrey, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you guys will hear what they're proposing first. I think a good reason to have the secondary discussion about how we handle this moving forward, but we might as well try to deal with what is on the table as of now, and see whether there's a way to work through it. Talk about what our process should be moving forward.
Okay, so if we have time tonight, we can talk about the process, but let's see, I know we're getting to 9 o'clock, so let's see how far we get here. Very good, would you guys like to come up and talk to us?
So for the record, I have to say that that's been a great collaboration with the people from Burt Code and the planning department of Darien to try to flush this out and try to make it work. So just very responsive. A lot of renderings have been produced in a short amount of time, and we really appreciate that there were visuals to illustrate. So we do appreciate the effort. I want to make sure that's noted.
Thanks, Hervé. I agree, when we saw you guys before, you guys were very conscientious developers. It was fun when we've had this discussion. So welcome back. Introduce yourselves.
Phil from Burt Code.
Okay.
Jenny Morgenthau, the architect.
Okay.
Awesome. So the first thing I want to clarify is it's not a financial issue, it's a structural issue with the building.
Okay.
The financials were brought up in regards to a potential request to change the pergola, and we've actually brought a design today with a separate pergola that we're looking to use as well. So our main issue that we have here is the awnings that are above the main front windows and the 2 front doors structurally did not work out the way that we'd like them to do. We had as-built plans initially. Our structural engineer and the awning company went based upon the as-built plans. Once we got in there, we determined that the conditions had significantly changed. At this point, it's going to be extremely difficult to be able to put them on the way they are, if not nearly impossible to put them on the way they are now without taking out all of the facade altogether and basically rebuilding it all, from nothing essentially. So if we can switch to the just keep scrolling. I'll let you know. Keep going. Okay, cool.
That one?
So, yep, that was fine. That was fine. So, this is what we propose doing here, and the reason that the pergola was removed is the way we initially had it set up is the pergola was structurally attached to the building. We've since then figured out that wasn't going to work out, so we spoke with our manufacturers, and we can do one that's freestanding, but we're looking at about a 20-week lead time, and we were hoping to get the business open for the community before that. So what we've also done, if you want to scroll to another, keep going. Go back, I'm sorry.
That's okay. They're
one more.
a little out of order from what you guys.
Sorry about that. One more back. See. One more. Sorry, I guess it's the first one.
That one.
We put an example of a new pergola as well. which is something we could absolutely look at as well. We want to install the original one that we put up there. Like I said, the lead time is strong. We initially asked for an extension, if we could do that at the beginning of next season, as obviously weather is changing and so on. We also understand if that's not possible as well. Can we go back to the...
Well, that makes sense. I know you guys have been at this for years. You want to get open, so...
Well, yeah,
we get it. Of course.
And we didn't, as I said, we went through the process with our structural engineers. We've done 4 or 5 different routes to figure out what we can do. And as you can see right here, if we were to attach the awning structurally today above the door, that's how they would sit.
That's how
they would sit. They would have to be that high.
Yeah, that's for the actual structure.
That kind of crowds the sign.
It crowds the sign and the functionality of the awning as a whole.
So which one are you proposing?
So can we go back, please? I'm sorry, forward.
Forward, 2, I think.
One more? Sorry, we're gonna keep going here. Go ahead. That is what we were proposing.
That is what we were proposing.
But
So-
with that other pergola.
Yeah, with the other
That's with
version.
the other pergola.
With what pergola?
This
Or,
This
So
freestanding one.
Oh, with that.
or if we're able to receive an extension on the original approved, we would go ahead and try to get that put in
Oh, so this one?
Yes.
You could still do that?
The only thing we can't do is right now it's set up with 3 columns,
That's all.
and then it comes over and attaches to the building.
Yeah.
We would have to do columns on both sides of it, and it would just have to be freestanding, which is something we can absolutely do, and frankly, we prefer to do on that end as well. But this is currently what we had proposed, considering the conditions with the awnings.
So this one with the, I mean.
We gave you a few different ones just because we were trying to show how the awning would look with signage, and the flow of the building is definitely not what we were initially looking for.
Okay, so my favorite,
Yeah, that's, you know, this is.
not that I'm the only one that's
No,
here,
that's okay.
is this one with the bicycles underneath it.
That's the original. That's why. That's
Yeah,
approved.
okay, that's the one they can't do.
Yeah.
That's the one that we need to
So
do.
why
do
did
this.
you,
We're consistent. That's good, Rebecca.
okay, so, but I don't think I was here.
They all
for
have
this.
bicycles.
I don't think.
So it sounds like
That's
you,
what we would prefer. as
So,
well.
okay, but why can't you do that and add supports, like columns and supports? Why does it have to be,
Columns and support models.
This is our builder.
why?
Bill Corey, I'm the GC.
Yeah.
Right.
I can probably answer some of the structural questions a little better.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And some of the restrictions that we found once we opened the building up that weren't apparent prior to the demolition, and which was never visible to the architect or the engineer based on the as-built that we were provided. Over both of the window units, including the entry doors, the building was built with steel. It's one continuous piece of steel, the 21i beam that stretches the full length of each window wall, both sides, and then there's separate beams over both doors. And from the exterior, what would appear to have been the same facade, same structure, did not really exist where the steel was. The steel was infilled. It was not a structural aspect to be able to attach anything to. So given that state, we were able to come up with a few options for the canopies over the doors, which are mounted differently than the canopies that would be down over the windows on the left and to the right in front of the pergola units. So based on the steel that's there and the ability to put brackets in to hold the awnings, the 2 over the doors could in fact be put, but it does restrict the way the signage would appear because of the height problems with where the steel is to mount it. The long wall and the other, based on the engineering reports, we would really not be able to mount anything to those steel beams as a structural aspect to the building based on wind loads, shear loads, weight loads, snow loads. So,
I'll also point out the functionality too, as I said earlier, with the awning at the height level that it's at. We've tested it out a little bit here. We're not getting the function we're looking for to clear that for consumers coming in through the door as well.
Yeah.
So you don't even have the ability to, if you extended the width of this awning, create a bracket to this brick column?
There is nothing there to attach it to. The brick is a facade. It's not a structural aspect that we can attach to. Embedded in the brick is a steel column.
The remainder,
Vertical support.
not to cut you off, but the remainder of the building has CMU throughout, it's graded CMU. So that's easy for us just to peg right into. Initially, the as-built showed CMU up there as well, and that's what we were trying to mount into. Am I incorrect in saying that, Doug?
No,
We're correct, that's
that's,
exactly what
the building has two structural definitions. One being, like Phil had said, is cement block CMU with brick facade with an air gap and insulation, which the canopies over the walk-up windows, the drive-through windows, we were able to attach to the building with mechanical fasteners, which was approved by the architectural and engineering drawings. We don't have that ability on the other sections.
Do you have something like the ability to approve a lighter awning? Just not that that would be something I even support, but like if it was a fabric awning, is it the weight too? Like
the weight's, yeah, the weight's a problem.
So even a fabric awning though with wind and rain could
It's
be a
the
problem.
loads.
Yeah,
It's the loads, yeah. And we looked at trying to build, instead of attaching them, we looked at trying to build one into the structure ourselves, and we weren't able to. Our engineer wouldn't stand it. The concern is shoreline, when lows are high, yeah.
Is this staying here, this carport, or is this being abbreviated to two separate ones? As
two.
It's two. So, yeah, and again, that was, the issue there again was the structural load of that with what the winds are here, and the concern with snow, the size of it had to be reduced. In fact, the awning manufacturers required it.
It's a bummer, it's so pretty.
We didn't want to do it all the way around.
I mean, other than you saying that the height of the awnings that you could do are not really functional, I think you could pull bird code potentially to the front of the awning, right, to make it more visible, but if you're saying that's not even functional,
Well,
it's just aesthetic.
It'll give it a very different look because the bird code, just like you can actually see there, it'll actually glow on that wood. It'll have a very different appearance. If you bring it forward, it's literally just now a glowing sign sort of out in space. So it'll have a very different look.
And the height of it too, you're gonna have wood behind it, plus the metal strip, plus the window. So that visually it's gonna look really weird that way.
I also think it's a little too high. It doesn't.
If it goes up, yeah.
If it goes up that high, I mean, it doesn't provide any, like as a human being walking through that door, it's kind of like, wait, why is
You'll
that up
see
there?
it from a distance, but you wouldn't see it
Right.
close up.
Right.
Exactly.
Is there a way to, I mean, one of the things that I feel like is the beauty of the awning, just in general, and because now I'm looking, I guess, at this one is really what we can build.
I think that's
what's currently on the screen.
So is one of the things that I really like with the original that I thought was the best is just even like the red door frames, because they're a way to soften it, like whether it be like then like
So we've been
so like like in this one that we liked, the door frames are red. Like could you get, instead of red umbrellas, could you do like red Adirondack chairs or something to make the building look a little bit less, like soften up the building?
Soften up a little bit?
Yeah.
To avoid wind loads, could you have more of like a trellis style awning? You're not providing, rain cover for somebody, but it would.
It would still
be that.
Yeah, you would still have to attach it in the same place.
It just looks a lot, I think this was like very industrial, but like in a cool way, and this goes back to, in mine goes back to looking more like a bank building, right? So I feel like you need to provide some sort of detail to it to give it more character, right? Like so, like I said, whether it be the red door frames or some additional red elements or something like that out there in order to make it pop
more pop off the road. So we're saying like right Adirondack chairs, something like that. We could definitely,
Or something.
And why did you switch from having the red storefront doors to black?
because we were originally going to manufacture one new storefront,
Yeah.
and then we were going to spray the other doors.
Yeah.
Once they showed us the spray they were going to use, it shipped so easily, and it looks it doesn't meet the quality of what you see built in Darien. And so we were trying to move away from that, so that chip wouldn't be there. We can spray them. I mean, we can spray them red if we need to. Again, like I said, I'm just thinking.
I'm not saying to do that, it's just, you know, you need to figure out another element, like whether it be like that, in my mind, like whether it be that takeout window section and adding some sort of detail there, like
It
whether
can
it
be like a red translucent film on the
Or
glass of the door.
something to make it a little bit more poppy.
So there
or a
really
little
can be
more
any sort of fabric
design.
awning, like those red
Well, you got
fabric
the red,
awning
like
hanging
the-
down that way here, like kind of a, I mean, how is the sun here? I mean, I know this is facing east, right, correct, currently? So it's the morning sun mostly?
Yep, mostly.
But, so it's not too bad? But having just like almost Italian looking, you know, just slightly soft
I don't
awning
even, or
that
I
would
was
be
just
fixed,
even thinking like, it just needs some more detail, like it
right?
could
I mean,
do
it's a
like,
little flat, right?
it could do like a sculptural element, like where those wood panels are, like right, like those metal, you know, I don't know, like, no, I'm saying like where the,
The problem
takeout
still
window.
remains of attachment
For fabric on?
for anything right there.
I don't think it's fabric, because you want it to still have that industrial look, but like see where like the takeout window is, that wood wall or something.
That wood
like
wall?
Like you could somehow jazzy that thing up in the other one, like on the other side, all the way to the other corner.
On the
You
back
can
right corner? you're talking?
Yeah.
In what sense? Change the color of the wood or?
Yeah, change the facade color.
I don't know. I mean, like add a metal detail, like more like a sculptural element or,
Well,
I don't know.
I do think that if you go back to that,
Yeah, try.
one we were just on,
Here's the wood, I was trying to get to that one.
yeah. If,
Do you want
if
to go
you
back
can,
to the
yeah,
other
just go
picture?
back, I'm sorry, go back to the one that we were just on.
Oh, yeah, all the way back the other way.
That, yeah. So if you can imagine this, but with, you know, a freestanding, the original, you know, metal canopy over the patio, but actually not, you know, attached to the building, and actually, you know, we can't do that because of the structural elements. But if that was coming out, if you could picture this along with that you like, I think that would give it enough of, you know, kind of an interest. I think it's a little bit different. It's hard to picture that with just the umbrellas, you know, there. It looks a little bit.
It looks flat.
Yeah, so I think that if we had the original pergola there,
Yeah.
it would be a very, very different look. But with, you know, I think it would really, you know, you wouldn't focus as much on the awnings not being there because you'd have this other element.
I think you definitely need the pergola back, and if you can bring it back, and even if it's in a later date before you open, because otherwise you drive by, it's literally a building and it's surrounded by cement parking lot.
Like I said, we're all for keeping the original pergola
Absolutely.
as is.
That's my goal.
Yeah, and we're just looking, try to get it in and.
You might
more
need
creative.
though to consider, if our landscape architect was here, she might even like the English ivy on a pergola, or something to like soften it, right? Because it is,
But even this pergola that you show in this other picture, the height is really,
it's like,
it's too low.
It's too low?
Yeah.
But they want to do the original.
No, they want to go to
They want to do this
They
one.
go to the original one. It's
Yeah, we want to get the original.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Okay. So it sounds like we're in support. If you got like, you know, like,
yeah.
Unfortunately, we're sorry what you guys came through, but if you would like give a new proposal on when you could do that with this pergola and how that would give us new drawings and put in where you have the structural basis against the building.
We were originally thinking April would be our goal to actually have it.
Yeah, they're saying March, they could be produced.
Can you get us new renderings in that would show how this would, how that would work?
Yeah, we can do
Okay.
that.
And it would show also with the door painted black, like, and are there trees here? Is this just, is that a real tree that you're putting in? or-
Yeah, there's a real tree we're putting in.
Okay.
Yeah, there's trees all across the road line.
They are, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a considerable amount of landscaping across the front of the
Okay.
front of the property as a whole. Pretty much exactly.
Yeah, so
as you
imagine
see here.
that, but with the original.
So let's get new PDFs and we'll talk here, we'll keep you posted. We'll take a look, we'll make sure we're all good with that.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, thanks for being here, guys. I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for listening.
I will put on our agenda, since it's late, I'll put on our agenda to talk about just like protocol and how we want to deal with revisiting applications, but I don't want to do it tonight. I want to move along. So can I get a fair, like, any objections to approving the notes? Is everyone in favor?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. So then I'm going to adjourn our meeting. It's 9:17 PM. Thank you, guys.